Knudson. I'm with Dakota College in Bottineau, North Dakota. And I want to just go through some of the projects we got going on at Dakota College this summer. I'm going to try to go through them rather quickly. I obviously didn't the last group, but we got through them. But maybe then we'll have some time just to visit on some questions you might have in general about other things. So particularly, I'm a horticulture person, so particularly things with horticulture, vegetables. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. So there's kind of 3 areas I'm going to talk about. We have summer activities. We kind of got them broken down. We talk about, we've got it kind of in a campus, and we've got a city, that area that we're doing things. We've got our bedding plants on campus, and then we've got our vegetable production I want to talk about. And then we've got our summer projects, which are mostly grant type projects. And I'm going to just jump right into them, but here's one of our workers, and we have like 25 to 30 different potted plants around Bottineau, and we're doing that. It's on a contract type thing with Bottineau, and it works out really good. We've done that for 8-10 years now, and so we end up kind of picking up some other areas too. Local businesses sometimes want us to come in and plant, so that's something we do in a small town. We've also got on campus, we've got our interior escapes where we've got plants growing inside, and then we've got a lot of bedding plants outside too that we're doing on campus. On our and I skipped through that part really quick, good. Dakota College, we have a farm, and we grow a lot of vegetables there on the farm. And we have 6 high tunnels right now. We've got a 7th one that we want to put up. Haven't put it up yet, but I think we're thinking maybe we'll get that done later this summer. So we have a wash and pack facility, and then we have 3 outside small field garden type situations. So here's something that we're doing a lot of. We're using a lot of different mulches, and up in the this one here is alfalfa mulch. You can kind of faded there. You can see that in the picture, and then the middle one there, Josh is putting on a leaf grass clippings type of mulch, which works out really well too, we found. And then the one to the right, of course, is plastic mulch, because we want to try all the different types. And so we have a lot of experience on plastic mulch. We've done that for quite a few years. And underneath the plastic mulch, we've got the drip tape. And if some of you happened to be along this afternoon, you saw the drip tape that was out along the corn there. So that works out relatively well for us. We don't have drip tape under I think under the hay, the alfalfa, we have drip mulch, but we don't under the leaf and the grass. So switching over real quick to some of the greenhouse activities, we grow a lot of bedding plants. We start a lot of bedding plants, probably 20 to 25,000 bedding plants in the spring. And a lot of those are for sale. And so our students get those going for us. And then of course they disappear in May, and then we have all these bedding plants we need to either get out planted. We plant them in the city, around the campus, and then we sell a lot. But here's just an example in our greenhouse of the bedding plants that we have for sale. So. And right now we got bananas growing. You can see that in that one picture. We also have some, the lower one is hard to see, but that's pineapples that we got going. We kind of have pineapples all year round. It's just one of those things. You get in a rotation, we always have pineapples. And students, when they get ripe, then we sit around the table in the head house and we enjoy pineapples. So it's really good. Pineapple fresh like that is really good. Yeah.
I've had pineapples back in India too. Nothing tastes so honest.
Yeah, it is good. We haven't had bananas for a couple of years, but this particular variety of banana is not a real tasty banana. It's a shorter banana, and it doesn't quite have that sweetness, but maybe we'll make banana bread out of it. That is, yeah, that's a heated greenhouse, and it's heated year round, yeah. And in that greenhouse, we have one section with just tropical plants. We got mangoes. I don't even know all the different, a lot of different tropical plants. Yeah, and then in another section we have a hydroponics operation going. Another section we do our bedding plants, And then we have a succulent and cacti section too. So within that large greenhouse. And that is all set up for students to learn about all the different plants and understand propagation techniques of each type of plant and that type of thing.
Is the pineapple growing from seed?
It's growing from the top of the pineapple you buy in the store.
You can stick that right in the ground?
Yeah, yep, it's got to stay moist, but yes, it'll go.
And how long does it take to mature?
2 years. 2 years. Yep. Yep.
And they're massive. Once they start growing, they're massive.
Yeah.
So make sure your containers are bigger.
And then also in the greenhouse, we do some lettuce production. So we have lettuce growing year round in our greenhouse. And we've got it in two different situations. We've got it in aquaponics operation, where it's fish and plants growing together. So we've got fish in a tank, we feed the fish, the water flows through that tank and through a bed of plants that are floating. And so then those plants take that nutrient up. And so we grow a lot of lettuce that way in the wintertime. There's a step in between that I should mention, and it's called a biofilter. But in that particular tank that fish water flows through is a ton of bacteria. And that bacteria is there to break down that fish waste so the plants can take it up as a nutrient. And then the water goes back to the fish tank again. And then the one below is hydroponics. And that's, we use a commercial fertilizer. I'd love to use an organic. We just decided we're going to use commercial. And so commercial fertilizer is typically salt-based, right? So we end up dumping the water out every once in a while in hydroponics. But we grow a lot of lettuce that way. And we've got lights in that area so that our lettuce does really well. I think it's 58 days or so in the wintertime is about what it takes us from seed to harvest in our lettuce. I mean, there's better, and there's a lot better, but that's what we kind of end up with. So we do that, and all the produce that we grow in the wintertime goes to Sodexo, which is our food service. They're a large food service company worldwide, and we use the students get to eat it then locally. Oh yeah. Some of us have seen this before. I know, I look at Bill because I know we've experienced 3 times. Yeah. So this, at Dakota College, this is nothing unusual. This happens every year. And so some people think of it as a tragedy. We don't. We just plan for it. It's just maintenance of poly. Every year we replace one. That was last Thursday when that one went. So we usually get a crew of people together and we're pretty darn good at putting it up.
Did that take a big storm, or that's just like normal winds?
That was normal winds, but that poly's probably been on for 5 years. So it does, and one of the issues that I saw right after we put it on was, we put it on, it was kind of tight, and so then we started to see little holes right where there's a wiggle wire that holds it in place, right along the wiggle wire. So I knew it was just a matter of time. It lasted quite a while, but that poly gets kind of brittle after a while. And so it's going to go. It's just plan for it. So if you're thinking about have a high tunnel, I say about every 4 years, 3 to 5, this is going to happen to you. So just plan for it. It's not the worst thing. It does happen and you just get rid of it. My first high tunnel that I got, which by the way, there's an EQIP program that you can get some financial aid through your NRCS. Go to your Soil Conservation District. There's a lottery to get it, but you can probably get some financing to put up a high tunnel if you want to do that. I just want to say one thing on poly. On mine, my experience is that I've found it more reliable if I put 2 layers of poly on it when I do it. Because, so first of all, you can put a fan between them and you get it puffed up and you get some airspace in between. When that wind comes across, it kind of baffles it, it reduces that opportunity. I don't even put a fan in between, but I just put 2 sheets together. And so when that top sheet lifts off, it doesn't lift off very much because there's kind of a vacuum there. And so I find that 2 sheets work better for me. Wash and pack, that's an area where we wash our produce. We don't wash all our produce, but for the college that we produce there and then our school systems, our public school systems, we wash the produce because they want us to. But if we're selling like at our farm market, we don't wash that produce because Mother Nature puts this coating on it that protects it, right? And so as soon as you wash that coating off, then you're going to have issues with produce that gets old and rots and everything else. So we don't try to wash any more than we have to. Our food goes to food pantry, our excess food goes to food pantry, and so that was last week. Actually, we took a bunch of plants down. We thought we didn't have any produce. We thought, well, we've got extra plants to take them down there, and so people picked them up, gonna plant them in their gardens. We don't know how many will make it, but at least we did something. So one of the things about the wash and pack facility that we have is that's kind of seasonal, you know. There's a lot of time during the year where it's not being used. So we have a hemp program, and so in the wintertime now we're going to do some hemp processing. And when I talk about hemp, I'm talking about not marijuana, because that's not legal, right? But I'm talking about hemp, which has 0.3 or less THC level, and that's the psychoactive part of a cannabis plant. But you can also grow a lot of different types of cannabis that don't have that issue. And we've done it for centuries, for thousands of years. So we're growing some of those plants, and then we're going through an extraction process to extract the cannabinoids that we want. You've probably heard of CBD, right? That is one of them that we will be extracting. So we're going to go through that process this fall, and we've got equipment, small equipment, but it's more for educational standpoint to kind of bring in people and see how they can do it if they decide they want to do it. So then we have a ton of grants going on. What do we got here? We got 9 grants going on right now. The NRCS one, that's why I'm here today, is because this is part of one of the grants that I'm doing. And so we have 3 locations. I'm going to jump right into it. We have Dakota College, Minokan Farms, and then we have Wild Rice Soil Conservation District down at Foreman. And we're doing NRC practices for small farmers or for underserved farmers. And so typically, in the past, NRCS has been for the conventional type farmers, the larger farmers. Well, we know that there's opportunities for those practices to be used for smaller or specialty crop farmers. And so we've got these 3 sites, and High Tunnel is one example that is a NRCS practice. The irrigation inside is another one. Cover cropping is one. Mulching is another one, but there are a number of practices NRCS has that we can use as smaller farmers or specialty crop farmers. And then I've got one project, NRCS project with Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa up in northern North Dakota. And we're doing the same thing that I just talked about, only we're doing it for that tribe. And they wanted us to incorporate some of their indigenous ways in some of these practices, so that's what we're doing. We have the Farmers Market promotional program that's going on right now. We've got 6 interns that are in the state. These individuals are working at different farmers markets. They're collecting data, and then they're taking that data. We've done that already. That was year 1. And then we're taking that, analyzing it, and we're trying to figure out ways how we can improve sales at farmers markets across the state of North Dakota. So now we're in year 3 of that, and we tried some things in year 2. Year 3, we're continuing, the interns are continuing to do that, to try to find ways in which we can make the farmers market work. They're doing various activities at these farmers markets, and we're hoping that at the end then we'll have some really good ideas. We just had our first webinar last week, and it was for new farmers market vendors to kind of help them get into that farmers market scene a little bit. We've got Orchard Grant. You know this, the North Dakota Department of Ag almost every year gives out orchard grants, and so those are nice community grants where you can plant an orchard in your community. We have one at the college. That upper right-hand picture, that whole area was full of trees a month and a half ago. And we had a company come in, pull all the trees out, and then of course we spent time cleaning all the roots and everything else out. And then I have what we call a better layer. It's a machine that lays plastic and fabric. I came in and I laid the fabric there, and now it's ready for plants to be planted there. And we have a second project at Tuttle, North Dakota, very similar project, and that's an orchard project too, and we're doing the same thing down there. So, I mean, if in your communities, this comes out every year, there's a potentially, you can have an orchard grant and get an orchard started. Another grant that we have through the Specialty Crop Block Grant is a composting. We've got 6 bays that we're setting up, and we're trying different types of compost. And one will be lawn clippings and some other material in it. Another one's going to be aged manure. We've done some work with biochar, and so we're going to continue to do some of that work too to see how those work out. Whoops. And then this summer we research on different cultivars of hemp, and we're looking for high cannabinoid production or CBD production in our plants. But we're looking to find out what grows in Botno, North Dakota. And last year we did it with NDSU, and they had a site down at Absaraka, and we did it in Botno. And out of the 12 cultivars we tried last year, only 1 cultivar matured. The rest of them never got through the season up there. But in Absaraka, they all got through them. So it's just a difference in distance. And so you say, well, what's the difference? Well, number one is Absaraka is a growing zone 4, Botno is a growing zone 3. The other thing is that Botno, North Dakota has, in the summertime, on the average day, has 10 more minutes of sunlight than Absaraka does. Now, these plants are what we call photoperiod plants. They go into blossom when the night length gets to be a certain period of time. And so, of course, up in Botno, because we've got longer days, then they don't go into blossom quite as soon. So, some interesting stuff, and we're trying 14 different cultivars this year. In tunnel, high tunnel, and then we're doing some outside. And then I'm doing some at my farm, which is in the Turtle Mountains. And the Turtle Mountains is a growing zone closer to a 2 than a 3. So we're trying to see what we can do, but we're trying to find some cultivars and varieties that'll work well up there. And then, of course, all of this information goes into our hemp program that we teach at the college. Now, we've got a forestry grant that we're doing. We had a bunch of trees on campus, and in this picture down here, and we pulled them out. We shredded a lot of it, but we also cut some nice lumber out of it, and we're going to use them for signs on the campus. And then we're replacing. We're the School of Forestry originally, a long time ago. So we've had this thing that's passed through us for years and years. You take a tree off the campus, you put another tree in. So we always replace, and that's why you'll see us doing a lot of trees all the time. Almost all of our grants incorporate trees in them. We're doing one with the 3 affiliated tribes and military veterans, but there are quite a few people on a number of the different reservations that want to get into farming at some level, but don't know how. So we're going through that. We're working with them, going through what agencies they need to go talk to, kind of working with them on a plan to get their farm going. And then we're bringing in those agencies with that group so that they get to meet each other and they can talk face to face. And then we're incorporating, and I didn't mention on the other one, but there's a lot of the indigenous ways that they have. We're trying to incorporate those into those practices so that they don't lose that history that they want to keep. So we're trying to make it work together for everybody. Here's another one at Spirit Lake that we're doing. This is Spirit Lake has this huge facility that's a food distribution center, and they've always gotten their food through the USDA food distribution plan, but they want to start bringing in their own food and growing their own food. And so they've got this huge facility, and so they asked Dakota College, because we know aquaponics, we know hydroponics, if we could come in and help them set up a system, and then we're going to go through and provide some training for those to help them get that going. So, and that was it. That's kind of the things we're doing this summer, actually through the year. Do we have questions on that or anything else you want to talk about? High tunnel production or vegetable production?
Are you using lights then
Are they? Yes.
to grow the plants?
Yes. Yep. So anytime you're inside of a building like this, you got to use lights. And so part of our training there is to teach them what that light intensity needs to be and what those types of colors of light that they need. So we go through that process with them too.
What do you mean by high tower?
I meant,
High tower,
I'm sorry, I meant high tunnel.
high tunnel.
I'm sorry. I say that every once in a while. Somebody said that to me the other day and now I can't get it out of my head. High tunnel. Yes.
So does that mean that it's
Oh,
a tunnel of a certain height?
so you saw that one with the plastic? Yeah, so typically they have high tunnels and they have low tunnels. They have caterpillar tunnels. They're all different types of heights. But typically a high tunnel is anything in that 10 foot and above range, that the center point, yes.